Hey everyone, welcome back to the Phases of Growth podcast. I'm your host, Brittany Rose, and today we're going to talk about embodiment. So, this episode is actually going out later than I had planned, and the reason is yesterday I listened to my body, and my body said, "You need rest. You need quiet, you need stillness." And so, I really want to record these episodes when I'm in like a high vibrational place. I have good energy. I want it to be fun. And if I had recorded this episode yesterday, it would have felt like an obligation rather than something I get to do. So I honored myself. And that's a lot about what we're going to be talking about today. So, first, I want to ask you a question that you can't really answer for me, but I want you to answer it for yourself. How are you doing? So take a moment, think about how you're doing. When you have your answer, I want you to tune into your body and notice what your body says about that answer. And if you don't notice anything, that is information too. So, like I said, today's episode is about embodiment. And to me, embodiment is a relationship that you have with your physical body and its sensations. It's a state of mindfulness. So, mindfulness is about being present in the here and now. And embodiment is being present in the here and now in your actual body. And it's important for a lot of different reasons to be attuned with your body and the way that it communicates with you. So your body communicates through physical sensations, right? Like we all know the sensation of pain or hunger or hot or cold. Those are absolutely some ways that your body communicates with you, but there's so many more. There's tingling, there's pressure, there's tension, there's lightness and airiness, there's butterflies in your stomach, right? Those are all ways that your body is communicating with you, trying to tell you what's happening in your internal landscape. For a lot of people, though, this is something they shut off for a variety of reasons. It could be you've experienced bodily trauma. So being inside of your body does not feel comfortable. It could be, or your system's trying to protect you from feeling overwhelmed. Like if you were too in tune with your sensations, then it kind of adds to the emotions that you're experiencing and maybe increases panic within you. So it's understandable that there's a lot of people who just disconnect from their body because it's too overwhelming, it's too uncomfortable. For me, I'm a highly sensitive person. So I'm like uber in tune with my body to the point where it can be really, really overwhelming or uncomfortable. I can tell you about the buzzing that I feel on my feet. I can tell you some pressure I feel on my left side near my hip right now. I can tell you about an itch I have on the back of my right shoulder, right? Like I'm very in tune with sensations. And I live in this house where literally the difference between, for me personally, hot and cold is 1 degree difference. And it drives my partner nuts because I'm constantly changing the temperature. But being too hot is so uncomfortable, and being too cold is very uncomfortable for me as well. So I can understand why some people disconnect from their bodies. And what I'm going to say is it's really important to get reconnected. And the reason why it's important to get reconnected is your body is telling you things that it needs, right? Yesterday, if I had not listened to my body that was saying, I'm tired, I have low energy, I need to rest, I would have just pushed through that and woke up today being even more tired with low energy and needing to rest, right? And I would have just kind of kept digging this hole deeper and deeper. But instead, I was like, nope, I'm going to honor what my body's communicating to me today. Today I woke up and it took me a little while to wake up because I got up earlier than normal. But now that I'm up and I'm going, I have a lot more energy and I feel really good. And so I'm getting a lot of things done. Your sensations are also very closely linked to emotional states of being. So sometimes your body can cue you into a feeling of anxiety or anger before your mind kind of catches up to the emotion that you're experiencing. So it's like paying attention to things like how, you know, what's my heart rate like right now? Where am I feeling tension? Um, People talk about that gut feeling. That gut feeling is so real. And it's your intuition saying, hey, pay attention. There's something here you need to notice. So our bodies are constantly talking to us. But if we have disconnected, we can't tune into that wisdom. And how many times have you wished I would have listened to that gut feeling? I have absolutely been there many times where I'm like, my body was trying to tell me something. My intuition was trying to communicate to me through my body, where my mind was blocking the intuition. And if I had tuned into that gut feeling, if I had taken a moment, if I had taken some deep breaths, if I had asked my gut, like, what are you trying to communicate to me? A different outcome could have been had. And your body, like, going back to what we've talked about with parts, your parts will make you feel bodily sensations. So that gut feeling could be a part being like, hey, remember this? You need to pay attention to this. And so if you tune in and you ask, you're going to get answers. We have to learn how to get comfortable with interoception, which is the ability to focus inward and pay attention to your emotions and to your sensations. Another reason why paying attention to your sensations and being in tune with your body is important is we can actually diffuse intensity by paying attention. So if I'm like noticing I'm anxious and I say, all right, I am feeling anxious and I'm feeling it in my chest. It's tight. My heart is racing. I have some tension in my shoulders. My gut is gurgling, right? If I can just notice that, I'm creating a little bit of separation. And that little bit of separation means that my nervous system can start settling, right? It by just naming it and noticing it, but not attaching to what is actually happening, it diffuses the emotional experience that you're having. And I'm not saying that by doing this, that it's going to go away completely, but it's like this unblending process that allows you to be with your emotions, be with your sensations, get curious, and then do the work to figure out what your system needs to be so that you can be taken care of. But if you are completely blended with the anxiety, that logical side of your brain shuts off. And so we have to create a little bit of separation. And I know it sounds maybe like I'm saying two things at once, like you need to get in tune with your body and then you need to create separation. But it's like in those moments where you're trying to understand your experiences and you're trying to figure out how do I support myself and how do I shift into a better feeling or to a more calmer state of being. That's where the unblending and creating a little bit of separation can really be helpful. And when we're noticing what we're experiencing and talking about that, even if it's just in our own mind, okay, I'm experiencing um, shortness of breath right now. I'm experiencing a pit in my stomach. Focusing on that helps us to create a detachment from the story. So it's like there's a story that's being told about the past, about something we've experienced, about a trauma we've been through. And so we're creating a little bit of separation, detaching those things. So we're just dealing with the sensation. And then the story is kind of being detached from that so that the next time we think about that story, maybe there's not as big of an emotional charge. And there's a lot of techniques that help with that. EMDR, parts work, like I've talked about. But another way of just doing it for yourself without a therapist to be involved is to observe mindfully without judgment, noticing so that we have a little bit of space to bring calmness to our system and gentleness to our system and not trying to push it away, right? We're not shutting it down and saying, stop feeling that way, body. I don't want to, I'm detaching from these sensations altogether. It's a witnessing, but it's a witnessing in a way that isn't as enmeshed as it may have been before. Hopefully that's making sense to you guys. So I think that sometimes, and I am guilty of this myself as a therapist, we go straight to the thinking part instead of the feeling part. And I think that bypassing the feeling part and the experiencing of the emotions, of sensations, really is not giving your system the ability to fully express itself and to fully understand the depths of what you're feeling. So I think it is really important. And I have been trying to catch myself with clients that I'm working with of like, let's bring it back to our body for a moment. Let's not just go into the intellectualizing and the talking through and, you know, the speaking about emotions. Let's sense them. Let's understand them. Let's get more aware because it's like if I catch anxiety early before I'm completely overwhelmed by it, I have the opportunity to do something to help my nervous system settle. Right? If I can catch it and be with it and understand it and get curious, and then I can be like, okay, let me take some deep breaths. Let me do some bilateral stimulation to help settle my nervous system. Let me go for a walk or do some gentle movement, right? Something that's going to help shift into the different state of being. Another thing that I've been learning about in somatic experiencing, which is a therapeutic model, is all about embodiment and being in tune with your somatic experiences, is that sitting with it, noticing it, naming it, sitting with it helps increase your tolerance for distress. So it's like it just kind of like widens your capacity. And that is helpful because, you know, most of the time, if you are not a therapist or haven't been through therapy, your way of dealing with emotional distress is usually in ways that kind of is not healthy, right? Like dissociation is not super healthy. Numbing through substances is not super healthy, right? So if it's like if I can sit with it for a little bit longer, I'm increasing my distress tolerance before I have the need to go shift. And again, the goal is to learn how to shift in healthier ways through breath, through movement, through expression or bilateral stimulation, like I said. But it's a good practice to just be like, I am okay sitting with this discomfort. And it's not something I think we do or talk about all that often, that like, we're not going to be comfortable 24/7. And that's something I've had a hard time dealing with, like, because I think it's because I feel like I'm hardly ever comfortable being in my body. Like I said, I'm a highly sensitive person. And so, like, I feel everything physically. And it always is very shocking to me. Like the people who are like, yeah, I have no connection to my body. I'm like, what must that be like? I'm saying this in a joking manner, but like, I know that it's not beneficial for me to go into the opposite direction. I have tried, right? With, like I said before, like substances and food and, you know, things like that, distraction to kind of disconnect me. But it never really worked all that well. It was very temporary and the problem still remained and it was now stuck in my body and stuck in my nervous system. And so when I had to do a lot of work to release what could have been released naturally by allowing the emotion and the sensations to go through their normal cycle. Because our stress does have kind of this normal cycle. They talk about like the wave of emotions where it's like, it kind of like an ocean wave, right? Like it builds and builds and gets really big and then it comes down. But so what happens so often is that it builds and builds and gets so big and then we shut it down. And so it gets cut off. And so the cresting and the falling and the releasing never happens. And so it's just trapped in our body. And they have proven that is terrible for people, right? Like stress causes physical disease. So it's like if we are just completely shutting it off and stopping it from doing what the energy naturally wants to do, we are creating bigger problems for ourselves in the long run. So, another reason, which is a little bit of a different reason than just kind of like being aware, allowing our bodies to go through the natural cycle, increasing distress tolerance, all that, is the more in tune I am with my body and with sensations, the more in tune I am with energy and the energy that's around me and the energy of things and people and situations. And so being able to tune into how my body reacts to certain people or situations gives me clues about what is aligned or not aligned for me. If I spend time around people who make my nervous system jumpy and dysregulated, that's a pretty good cue that those aren't the people I should be spending a lot of time with. And more often, recently for me, it's about what I've been consuming in terms of media, right? So, like, I'm paying attention to my body as I'm watching a YouTube video. And unfortunately, I've been watching a lot of news YouTube videos. And when I'm being honest with myself and I'm paying attention to how my body's reacting to it, it's getting very activated. My body's saying, enough. You know what is happening in the world and that it's not good. You don't need to listen to the talking heads go on and on about it. So that is another reason that I think it's really important to get in tune with yourself and to get in tune to the way your system communicates with you, because it will help make things a little bit easier, right? If something feels off, trust yourself, trust your gut, trust your body. There's something off about that. And so then you shift. So now I want to spend just a couple minutes talking about ways of getting in tune with your body. So simple ways. So first, I'm going to tell you to take one of your hands, doesn't matter which one, and I just want you to squeeze it. And I want you to just notice what are the sensations present in your hand from squeezing it. Now I want you to let it go. And I want you to notice the sensations present when you released your hand from squeezing it. So something as simple as that, of just like squeezing your hands, squeezing your feet, different muscles in your body, that's bringing your awareness and attention back to your physical vessel and just noticing the difference between squeezing and not squeezing. So there's tons of different meditations out there this would be like a progressive muscle relaxation meditation. Squeeze and relax, squeeze and relax. So that is an option. There are also body scans where you're not doing anything, you're just noticing. And I have one on my YouTube channel that I will link in the description of this if you want to check it out. It's very quick, probably like 5 minutes long. But it's just you're paying attention, like either from head to toe or toes to head, whichever one it is, but you're just going through your body and just noticing what sensations are present in my head, in my jaw, in my shoulders, in my chest, in my stomach. And you just systematically move down the body and you're just bringing your awareness to it. You're not changing it. You're not trying to do anything. You're really trying to not judge it by labeling it as good or bad. You're just being with your body, being with your sensations. You could also do this with breath. Some people are not super comfortable focusing on their breath, and I get that. So if that's not comfortable for you, that's okay. Just find a different way that is comfortable and start small. If it's like this is completely foreign to you, you are somebody who's completely disconnected from your body, try the hand squeezing thing and just do that every day for, you know, for a week until you feel a little bit more comfortable being inside of yourself. I find it's easier to tune into my body with my eyes closed because I'm cutting out any other kind of like sensory input from my eyes, at least. But again, do what feels right for you. If that does not feel comfortable, then don't do that. It's just something that I have found helps me personally. And once you start getting comfortable noticing your sensations, noticing your body, being inside of your body, then I highly encourage you to start asking the question, what does my body need right now? What is it trying to tell me? How can I honor it? What would support my body? What would support my system right now? Like I said, how I started this podcast episode yesterday, I was really tired. And what I needed was rest. I went for a walk and then I needed to just lounge around and read a book. And that was lovely. And today I feel like a different woman. I'm also so in tune with myself. Like, if I'm feeling hunger, I can tell what kind of hunger I am experiencing. Like, if I need protein, I'm very in tune with my sensations and be like, all right, I need to eat some protein. Or if it's like you haven't had a fruit or a vegetable in a little bit of time, my body will communicate a different sensation of hunger. And I just am aware that's what I need. So it's like you can get so much information that's going to support your wellness just by learning how to tune in with yourself. Another little hack I'm going to tell you is so you've done your body scan and you've noticed that there's some places in your body that are uncomfortable. You sat with it, you don't want to sit with it anymore. Totally understandable. So, what I do is I imagine that I'm breathing in to that spot where there's pain or discomfort. So if it's in my back, I'm imagining breath coming in and out of my back. So in with like it's like in with healing energy, out releasing that pain, that tension, anything that my body's holding on to. So you can like visualize it or you can just like imagine that that breath is coming into that part of your body. And again, not a cure all, but in my experience, it definitely helps diffuse things so that the sensation is not as intense. So I really hope that this episode was helpful. And I know that in my past episodes, we've been talking about a lot of like spiritual and kind of like, in the mental, realm and bodies. And today I felt like it was really important that we acknowledge that our wholeness, we are not just a brain and thoughts, and we are emotions and we are a physical being as well. And so I think it's really important to tune into all of that, to honor all of that, to be with all of that, and to pursue wellness in a way that honors our mind, body, and our soul. All right, so that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.